Next, I want to show you how you can get device data into Fred. There are really many ways, but one is to use an MQTT server as an intermediary. I've got a flow here that's listening on an MQTT topic to data from a TI sensor tag and outputting it into a debug node. Let me show you that data is coming in first. Let's turn that on. You can see that we're getting humidity, ambient temperature, air pressure, that kind of thing. So I'll just go turn that off. And you can, of course, do many interesting things with this data once you've got it set up. So I've got a bigger flow that's basically taking the same data feed, doing some formatting and some data processing, and splitting that data so that I can display it in various charts. Let me just have a look at that now. So just click on our dashboard, and then choose a dashboard where this data is coming in. And you can see that we're getting this data in real time from the TI sensor tag and displaying it on our dashboard. So that's pretty cool. Oh, a fall was detected. That's based on accelerometer data. So another way to get data into Fred is using the Fred nodes that we've installed in Fred. So let me show you how that works. So what I'll do is I'll create a Fred node that communicates with Node-RED that's running on a local device such as a Raspberry Pi. So to do that, what I'll do is I'll create a Fred input node and a debug node and connect those together. So that what we'll do is we'll listen for data from a device and display it in the debug window. So to do that, you configure the Fred node and choose the name of an endpoint. In this case, the endpoint is called test device. And you can make these endpoints public or private, requiring a key. But in this case, we'll just make a public endpoint. So we'll update that. And so now what we've got is we've got a Fred input node running in the cloud and output to the debug service. We'll deploy that. And then what we'll do is on our local device, let's say on a Raspberry Pi, we'll send some data into Fred. So to do that, we'll use an inject node and a Fred output node. And then we configure the Fred output node to use the same endpoint name. And then we also make sure that it's a public endpoint and put our username in there so Fred knows who, which instance to dispatch this to. We update, we deploy, done. I'm going to connect them and we'll deploy. And so now what we've got is we've got an inject node sending data to Fred on a local device. And there's the Fred node, the Fred instance that's listening and outputting to debug. So let's go ahead and send some data from the local instance and see what happens. So we click on that and you can see that the local Node-RED is sending data into the cloud. And of course we've got Fred input and output nodes on both ends, so we can make this a two-way communication and control things from Fred as well. So that's a couple of ways on how to connect devices to Fred really easily. Thanks.